Good morning, and this is Morning's LALATE. It's a big morning as the press secretary is about to go live to talk about your fourth stimulus package. I'll cut into that live feed as soon as it happens. Meantime, the president's talks about your fourth stimulus check and fourth stimulus package. We'll recap the discussion across the board this week. But new economic data released today surprised everyone, and I'll be going over the economic data. It's been a week in which we've seen good news and bad news. Today, the Producer Price Index came really with strong economic numbers. But the day also started with very poor economic numbers as small businesses shuttered across the board. Meantime, it's surprising great news from the CDC. I'll have that latest details as well. We'll be going back to the push of the fourth stimulus to understand how quickly this fourth stimulus check, this monthly stimulus check, this reoccurring stimulus check could land in your bank account. We'll go over the analysis and the numbers and the big money you can get. As the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and the president's about to be here with his press secretary within minutes. This is Morning's LALATE. Good morning, everybody. It's a big morning, a Friday morning, and within seconds, I will cut into a live feed with your press secretary and your secretary of transportation, who will be talking about your fourth stimulus check and fourth stimulus package. How are you? The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and I'm just hoping you don't spend your $1,200, your $1,400 stimulus check at the casino tonight. Don't bring that stimulus check to the casino. The $12 ice cream is really not that good. It's not even worth $11.99. How are you? It's a big Friday morning, and I'm so excited for you. You made it to the weekend. You crushed the weekend. You know, later today, we may find out there is really another wave of third stimulus checks. We'll find out that detail as well. I'll be covering that later in this video. But here we go. Monthly, reoccurring, fourth stimulus checks. I have all the details. How soon? How does it work? Who gets them? What are the issues? What is the likelihood? What is the push? I'll be covering that all in this video. And throughout the day, I'll be going over the analysis. And this is where we're starting right now. Economic data. You want stimulus to get in the Senate as soon as possible before the economy rebounds. So did the economy rebound in the latest news? It depends on which of the economic data you saw. And there were two items that came out minutes ago. First, this one, a big suggestion that the economy is rebounding. The Producer Price Index was released Friday morning, and here are the numbers. For the month of March, it increased 1%. The estimate that they were expecting was 0.4%. It was the highest rise of the Producer Price Index in 9.5 years. This is really strong economic news. But then, also Friday morning, this data. The number of small businesses and medium-sized businesses that closed in the month of February was the worst since the pandemic started last year. In the month of February, 22% of businesses, small and medium-sized, still in operation in February of this year, closed their doors permanently. That number is the worst that we have seen since May of 2020, when 23% of small businesses that month closed at the height of the pandemic. So clearly you see what's going on. This has been sort of what's been happening this week, where you start a day with really great economic numbers, strong economy, suggesting maybe stimulus may not be sent out the door, and then really bad economic numbers showing you have to do stimulus. The day also started with this number. The number of vaccinated people in the country surged. This is the latest data coming out Friday morning for the CDC. 20% of U.S. Americans are now fully vaccinated with 2 doses. The number of Americans vaccinated with 1 dose so far is 34% of the U.S. population. This is a very good number. Now, if you've been with me since this week, you have seen how we've had a really confusing week of economic numbers, where we start in one place with great numbers and then another place with bad numbers. Let me tell you where we were a week ago today. A week ago today, It was Friday. Well, because Ace Friday, so that was a week ago. Unless you're doing Larry Kudlow math. A week ago, today was a Wednesday. Yeah. Or as Portia once said, there's 398 days in the year. Yeah, a week ago, this Friday, the number of job creations was released. Remember, there's two numbers you need to look for job numbers: the monthly number and the weekly number. And a week ago today, the new job numbers came out. 1 million jobs created in the month of March. Wow. There's 8 million jobs missing, so that would mean in 8 months the jobs will be restored. A day before that, on Thursday, we were thinking we were restoring 300,000 jobs a month. That would take 16 months to restore the jobs. Now we're at 8 months restoring the jobs. But then, late last Friday, Wall Street analysts said, no, wait till you see this month's job numbers, the month of April. We're likely to be restoring 2 million jobs this month. 2 million jobs being restored per month when there's 8 million missing. 2 into 8, 4 months. It means that all the jobs missing in this economy could be restored in 4 months. What does this mean? Get the bill to the Senate as soon as possible. You don't want those 4 million jobs restored. That was Friday. But then yesterday, we got another number that was completely the opposite. That number was the number of jobless claims, new jobless claims. If you've been with me for 40-something weeks, you know every Thursday we see how many people newly went on unemployment or how many people are continuing on unemployment. And that number was horrible. Let's look at the number yesterday. The number of new jobless claims in the country was 744,000. How bad is this? The prior week it was 728. Wall Street is estimating that we were going to improve to 694 yesterday. We didn't improve, we actually got worse. We are 50,000 higher than what Wall Street estimated. And then we had the number of continuing unemployment claims. These are people who are still unemployed month to month, and the number remains very high at 3.73 million. This means that stimulus needs to get done. Let's look at the state-by-state number. In California, where they're reopening, the number's actually getting worse. The new number of jobless claims in California, new jobless claims, were 39,000 last month. New York added 15,000. Alabama improved. 14,000 people went off of jobless claims. And in Ohio, 10,000. What does this mean for you? Let's go to that money for that multiple stimulus check so you understand it right now. Canute Smith, thank you for the dancing pear. There's a dancing pear in the room. How are you, dancing pear? Canute with the dancing pear. I really appreciated it. Let's look at these numbers first, but thank you for the dancing pear. It's a Friday. Get up and dance like a pear because you got that $12 ice cream. Well, you got it on discount. Let's look at that. Let's look at that number again because it's so important to understand how much money is at stake. Look at this. If they got these monthly stimulus checks out the door in July for 6 months to December, that would be 6 months of checks. Word on the street, $2,000 a month or $1,400 a month. That's $12,000 or $8,000. It's a lot of money. It's an enormous sum of money. We've never seen money like that on this channel. What I want you to understand is that the following people would be eligible for this forced stimulus. Everyone watching this video would be eligible for this forced stimulus. You would be eligible if, 1, you got a third stimulus check. 2, you are on SSI and SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. 3, if you make less than $75,000. 4, if you're a household of family of 4 or less. This is you. This is you. This is a stimulus check for you. It is more than FPUC retro. It is 6 times the amount of $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. It is more than hazard pay. It is the single biggest payday that any single individual has ever gotten while this channel has existed. It's more than the $5,000 EIDL grant. It is so huge, it dwarfs everything you have ever seen in comparison. In about a few seconds, the president's press secretary is about to go live with his transportation secretary. I'll cut into that as soon as it happens. Let's go over that eligibility one more time. Who gets this forced stimulus check? If you make less than $75,000, it's you. If the household is 4 people or less, this is you. If you're on SSI and SSDI, this is you. We don't bring negativity to the room. So if you're having a problem getting a third stimulus check, it doesn't mean you wouldn't get a fourth stimulus check. This is the push. And ultimately, if you don't push it, you aren't going to get anything. Here we go. Let's look at the path to get this to the vote. The path is by recon. The path is only by recon. And the path to get it is to get it to the Senate as soon as possible. What's important to understand is that Republicans don't want to give you a stimulus check. They don't want to give you multiple stimulus checks. Reconciliation is the path to get it by vote-a-rama, with 21 of 50 Democrats so far wanting to give it to you. I'll go over that detail for you in just a second. But what's important to understand is that you need to push, because this is the time and place to push this stimulus check to the path of finality. Let me explain how this works, because it's very important. This is that recon process that we did together as a family in January. It's a 2-step process. It's a tow truck and the tow hitch. It's important you understand this so you know how fast and how quickly you got to push. First step is they send the bill to the House to determine an agreement that they're going to do a reconciliation. It's not the substance, it's the procedure. We agree we're going to do a reconciliation. The House votes on it, approve it. Then it goes to the Senate. The Senate approves it. Then it goes to the President. He signs into law. Step 1, done. The tow truck has passed over the finish line. They have now agreed to do a reconciliation of something. What's the something? It's a tow hitch. It's what's behind the tow truck. And then we head back to the House. We then work on the tow hitch. On the tow hitch are the items. Now, the House members may not give you multiple stimulus checks. They have written bills. They have introduced bills for multiple stimulus checks, but they may not do it. Don't worry, because this is what's done at the vote-a-rama in the Senate. They pass the second tow hitch in the House, then it goes to the Senate. When it lands in the Senate, there's a 2-day event called a vote-a-rama. And during that vote-a-rama is where they introduce amendments to put into the fourth stimulus package. That's where those 21 of 50 Democrats want to put that fourth stimulus check into the stimulus package. What's important to understand is a lot of the things that you have heard on this channel on third stimulus came during the vote-a-rama. The first one was the $10,200 of tax-free for unemployment came in the vote-a-rama. The student loan debt forgiveness, not taxable, came in the vote-a-rama. And then also the reduction of FPUC from $400 to $300 a week came in the vote-a-rama. That is the process. How long does that take? About 2 months. So you want to understand the following. You want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible for 3 reasons. There's a real speed issue at hand. The first reason is that the economy could rebound. Second, jobs could be restored. And finally, the obvious one is every month that the bill isn't law, you miss a stimulus check. You want this bill back into the Senate as soon as possible before the economy rebounds. Because no one's going to give you a stimulus check if the jobs are restored. No one's going to give you a stimulus check if the economy is rebounded. You don't want to risk it. You want that bill out the door. Earlier this week, the President of the United States addressed the American people and spoke about the bill. What's important for you to hear is the tone and when the President really got upset. Let's listen to when the President got really furious, and I'll explain to you why his angst with the issue.
$1 billion more during this period. Where's the outrage there? I'm not trying to punish anybody, but damn it. Maybe it's because I come from a middle-class neighborhood. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. Let me close by saying this. Whatever partisan divisions there are around other issues, there don't have to be around this one. The divisions of the moment shouldn't stop us from doing the right thing for the future. These aren't Republican bridges, Democratic airports, Republican hospitals, or Democratic.
Here's where the message goes off point. Let me explain why the President is expressing angst during that video. The president's fourth stimulus package has three provisions in there. One, infrastructure. That's bipartisan. Two, climate. Republicans don't want to do climate. They don't want to do it. They've said it's a non-starter. They said that last Friday. We're not doing climate, ever. Number three, raising taxes. Republicans last week said, we're not doing raising taxes. Well, the president in that press conference, the video you just saw, said, we can't agree to do nothing. I'm not going to do nothing. Well, if you're not going to do anything, then you have to go by reconciliation. You have to go by reconciliation because the Republicans have told you that 2 out of 3 items in the fourth stimulus package, climate and taxes, Republicans refuse to do. And that's purple power, why you have to push hashtag MSC, hashtag push purple power, because Republicans don't want to give you a stimulus check. They're not going to give you multiple stimulus checks. And Democrats do want to. The fastest way to get this out the door is push, push, push by recon. Get that bill to the Senate as soon as possible, because the sooner it gets there, the better you are. You don't want that bill to land there after the economy's rebounding. In a second, you're going to see a live press briefing from another cabinet member. Every day this week, the president has introduced another cabinet member to talk about the importance of passing the fourth stimulus package. And during this press briefing, he's going to talk about infrastructure. No one has a problem doing infrastructure, but you and I have a problem about getting the bill delayed. Let's go back to the important details across the board. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? These people. If you're $75,000 or less, household 4 or less, and also if you're on SSI and SSDI. We know several things from the Democrats, which is the stimulus checks would go June to December. We know the income qualifications. We know who gets it. The only thing we don't know, we don't know how soon, we don't know when it would start. We know when it would end. It would be monthly, and it would be till December. We don't know what month it would start, presumably June or July. We don't know the amount of the monthly stimulus check, but we're on the street, $1,400 or $2,000. Look at this chart. And here come the press secretary. Let's listen.
Okay, so if it's another day, we have another member of the Jobs Cabinet. Joining us today is Secretary Buttigieg. He served, as you all know, 2 terms as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, where he worked across the aisle to transform the city's future and improve residents' everyday lives. Household income grew, poverty fell, unemployment was cut in half. He helped spark citywide job growth and facilitated innovative public-private partnerships, like a benefits program to improve the city's transportation experience for workers. One of the mayor's initiatives, Smart Streets, led to benefits that included small business growth along previously neglected corridors and hundreds of millions of dollars in new private investment in the once emptying downtown. He also served for 7 years as an officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve, taking leave of absence from the mayor's office for a deployment to Afghanistan in 2014, and he is the first openly gay person confirmed to serve in a president's cabinet. I know you know a few things about him from the past. He will take a few questions at the end. We kind of have a time limit, so as always, I will be the bad cop. With that, I will turn it over.
Thank you. All right. Thanks a lot, Jen, and thanks, everyone. It's a real honor to be here, especially at such an important and exciting moment for the country. I'm convinced that this is the best chance in our lifetimes to make a generational investment in infrastructure, and that's what the American Jobs Plan does. The need is clear. It's growing by the day. After decades of underinvestment, we have fallen to 13th place globally in infrastructure. Delays caused by traffic congestion alone cost over $160 billion per year, and motorists are forced to pay over $1,000 every year in wasted time and fuel. Americans are spending too much of their money on transportation.
You're watching a live press briefing from your transportation secretary about the fourth stimulus package, live from the White House.
Regardless of party, that they want us to get it done, and they are not asking us to tinker around the edges. We've risen to this challenge before as a country. In fact, building bold infrastructure has always been central.
And as like yesterday, if you have any questions about fourth stimulus, drop them in the comments below, and I'll cut into the live press briefing and answer your questions as you pose them.
Projects was audacious, was transformative, and partly because it challenged the American people to expand our concept of infrastructure. But in doing so, these projects transformed our nation for the better, and they fueled the U.S. economy and way of life for the long run. So now it's our turn. The American Jobs Plan will again transform America's roads and bridges, rail and transit, ports and airports for the better. It's going to help modernize our transportation infrastructure so we can compete in the 21st century and connect communities. It will create millions of good jobs in communities across the country. I want to point out again that this is the biggest investment in American jobs since World War II. But I think it's important to demystify the kinds of jobs that this plan is going to create. These are good jobs. They are not mysterious or overly futuristic or inaccessible. We are going to need workers who are good with steel to make the cars and trucks of the future. We're talking about building retrofits that are going to require union carpenters and insulators, painters and glaziers. We're going to need electrical workers more than ever. We're not going to be able to build the roads we need to build without construction workers, laborers, operating engineers. Plumbers and pipe fitters are going to be a huge part of the story of how we overhaul.
Thank you, Scott, for the dancing pair.
So this is a jobs plan that is building America's economy from the middle class out, coming at just the right time. It's meeting the challenges that we face today, and it is fully paid for by making corporations pay their fair share. We think it's unacceptable that there are major profitable corporations in this country paying less in taxes than a teacher or a firefighter, not in terms of a percentage, but in terms of dollars. Specifically, in many cases, paying zero. And there's been a lot of talk at this moment, as you know, about what infrastructure is and isn't. I would argue that infrastructure is the foundation that makes it possible for people to live and work well. And you can't live or work or thrive without things like roads, clean water, electricity, broadband. Yes, that's infrastructure. And investing in a full...
Donna just asked a really good question. Is getting the vaccine safe? I've already had enough health issues just asking. Yes, it's absolutely wonderful. I had it done in February, early on, Moderna. It's absolutely wonderful. This is the latest data from the CDC this morning. 20% of United States citizens are now vaccinated. 34% have one dose. Absolutely, you should get it. It is wonderful. It is easy breezy. It is nothing to worry about. Thank you for that great question.
Country as fast as a plane. I'm curious, as the transportation secretary, do you see a big demand for that, for a high-speed cross-country train?
Well, there's definitely a lot of excitement around America about ensuring that the American people can enjoy a high standard of passenger rail service. Like the president, I don't think Americans should settle for less than citizens in other countries enjoy as a matter of course. Now, the truth is we have a backlog to deal with in addition to making sure that we can create new routes and new capacity. And what's great about the scale of the American Jobs Plan.
Bruce asked a very good question. Can Leader Schumer get this done before June? He can, but 2 months is really the time frame for a reconciliation process. Are we getting other stimulus checks, Danny? Absolutely. Monthly stimulus checks, 21 of 50 Democrats want you to have. Linkless says hi.
It's not the end of the story, but it's a fantastic beginning for a new chapter in American rail.
Josh?
Thanks for doing this. As you know, there's been some criticism about the corporate tax hike. Some people have said that user fees should fund infrastructure. And I was curious because user fees often cover the cost of maintenance and repairs. Does this administration have a plan to cover maintenance and repairs for all the infrastructure that's being built?
So, as you know, the jobs plan envisions this being covered through corporate.
Don asks, when are we getting the $200 for SSI? You're not getting it. And someone also said, my friend got it. No one has gotten the $200 of SSI and SDI. The push for multiple stimulus checks makes the SSI look diminutive. You don't want to get behind something that's less in money. You want to get behind the biggest payday you ever seen ever on this channel. $2,400 of SSDI pales in comparison to $8,000. If you're on SSDI or SSI, you would qualify for this. This is 5 times the amount of SSI and SSDI, $2,400. Look at these numbers, $8,400, $12,000. It's dramatically bigger. If you have more comments like that, great questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll cut in. You're watching live briefing from the press secretary from the press room at the White House.
Supporting maintenance. So there are a lot of different ways to do this, but the best way I've seen, especially for these kind of capital improvements, is exactly what's in the president's plan.
Mike?
Hi, Mr. Secretary. Having covered state and local government for almost 20 years before coming here, I've seen the divisions that can erupt within a state, between regions of the state, as they fight over limited pots of money to build these kinds of infrastructure projects. How involved do you think the federal government, the Department of Transportation, the Congress, the White House should be in making the inevitable choices that are going to have to be made in terms of which bridge gets fixed first, which road gets widened? There's obviously not enough money to fix everything and to do everything. And so how much of a role do you envision?
A great question by someone, I just missed who it was, said, if I'm on Social Security, do I get that fourth stimulus? Absolutely. The fourth stimulus, will we get if we're on Social Security, says Patty Young. Yes, let's go back to that graphic. Who would qualify for the fourth stimulus check? And who would not qualify for that fourth stimulus check? Let's look at that graphic once again. Who gets it? Here you go. Who gets a fourth stimulus? If you make less than $75,000. If your household is 4 or less. If you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Rural Benefits. The qualifications are the same as the third stimulus check. The Democrats in the Senate make a couple things clear. 1, they want it monthly. 2, they want it to the end of December. 3, they want the income qualifications and the standards to get it the same as the third stimulus check. So check for children, check for adult dependents, check for minor dependents, 75,000 or less, single individual, household, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rural Benefits, veterans, seniors, all included. Great question. Let's cut back into that live press briefing from the White House. And if you have any other questions, drop them. Oh, there's Ashley with a super chat. Thank you, Ashley, for the super chat.
Oversight over what is an enormous amount of money, both in terms of just sort of waste, fraud, and abuse, but also in terms of making sure that that it adheres to those kind of broader equity issues that you guys have talked so much about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big responsibility for a department like mine that'll be charged with carrying this out. And the president has already made clear his very high expectations for us in the rescue plan dollars, right? That's about $40 billion just out of the rescue plan that we got to manage well. But, he also rightly takes pride in the remarkably low rate of...
A great question by Elizabeth, which I think I mentioned on Evenings at Light last night, but I also answered it yesterday. But it's a great question, so I'm going to answer it again. Elizabeth asked, do we have to claim stimulus on taxes? No, stimulus checks are not income. It is not taxable. So, and I had someone on benefits ask that question about that yesterday. They were worried it would impact their benefit receipts. No, stimulus checks are not income. You do not have to claim it as taxes. It does not go to your benefits. Great question, Elizabeth.
You're Transportation Secretary. Travel, obviously, a big part of what you have to worry about. To Americans eager to get back overseas, whether it's by plane or by cruise ship, there have been questions about the cruise industry, especially this past week. CDC issued some guidance. There's concerns that it perhaps didn't have enough.
Debbie asked, is the income qualification $150,000 for a married couple? Yes, it was just, there's so little space on a particular graphic to put everything in there. Great question, Debbie.
Treated more like the airlines. What would you say?
Well, the bottom line is safety, right? And look, I'm the Secretary of Transportation. I can't wait for us all to be on the move as much as possible in a safe and responsible way. But it's got to be safe and responsible. And airplanes have one safety profile. Cruise ships have another. Vehicles have another. And each one needs to be treated based on what's safe for that sector. I'll tell you, I certainly care a lot about seeing the cruise sector thrive. And I know that CDC is hopeful that a lot of these operators will be in a position to be sailing by midsummer, and laying out these specific kind of gates that they need to get through is a very important step toward that.
And to the industry leaders who say midsummer is too late, to the governors who say that's too late for our state economies, you would say what?
Again, we want to do this as soon as we responsibly can, but we also have to make sure that it's safe.
Steve?
Once you get the money from the rescue plan, is there a process?
let me go over what he said in a second right now. Gene, thank you for coming to Purple Hawk. What he said was very, very important for purposes of you and your stimulus. I did not cover it early in this broadcast, but I want to cover it right now. What the secretary, what the transportation cabinet member was just saying a second ago was a question about a major lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Governor DeSantis, governor of Florida, sued the CDC yesterday, saying that it's operating in an illogical and arbitrary manner regarding the cruise industry. As you know, cruise ships have proposed the following idea: for the entire board to already be vaccinated, the entire passenger crew and passengers be required to be vaccinated before coming on the boat. Basically, it's an entire vaccinated crew and passenger ship from port to starboard. And they said no, you're going to have to wait to the end of the summer, and we're not going to change the standards just because everyone's vaccinated. And they said, well, why? Why are airlines able to fly and people are not even vaccinated on airlines? That was why that question was asked. Now, this is really important for you. What's important for you is that if those standards are changed by CDC, or if those pushes by DeSantis win, that ultimately those jobs will be restored very quickly. You could see hundreds of thousands of jobs restored in Florida alone if something like this works in any particular jurisdiction. And look at those numbers last Friday. 1 million jobs were restored in this U.S. economy, of which 250,000 were travel and leisure. Imagine what happens when one governor is making the push to get the entire cruise industry restored months earlier. That's why that question's so important for your stimulus. You want this bill in the Senate while those jobs are not restored. You don't want, as the secretary just said, the transportation secretary, late summer. You don't want this bill in the Senate late summer when the cruise industry is restored back to normal. And thank you, Gene, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Let's listen
American
more.
life is what it is, partly because America is in first place in so many of these aspects of our national life. Only America's not in first place in infrastructure. Like I said, we're in 13th. So when you have a strategic competitor like China investing sometimes multiples of what we are in forms of transportation, we have
Thank you, Herman, for becoming a Purple Power. Everyone welcome Herman to the family as well.
to want to remain number one. And for my dime, there's no good reason why we should settle for less, why we should be content.
Thank you, Donna, for the dancing pair. Thank you, Donna, for that wonderful dancing pair.
On a dramatically better standard of, let's say, train travel than a U.S. citizen. I think Americans should always have the best, and I think that's the tone that the president sets every day.
To follow up on that, is it partly also a messaging strategy to get more Republican support?
Well, I'll say that I've heard a lot of voices from across the aisle also expressing concern about whether America is falling behind in any number of strategic and economic dimensions. And again, a lot of that depends on what we're investing. And this is nothing new, right? I mean, part of what made the interstate highway system so important was an understanding that our national security in the Eisenhower era was well served by making sure that we had a more connected economy and country.
And with that, let me give you a recap of where we are on mornings LALATE. It's a big morning as 4 stimulus checks heat up. Multiple stimulus checks. What's going on? Where does this work? And what's at issue? The 4 stimulus package, which is what was going on with that press secretary, with that press conference, has a couple items in there. Infrastructure, climate, and then also taxes. Republicans say we're not going to do climate, we're not going to do taxes. Hence, it has to go by reconciliation. Throughout later today, I'll be going over how this reconciliation works, what the Manchin factor is or non-factor, and what the reaction to those modifications are. But the Republicans say we're not doing number 2 and number 3. We're not doing climate, we're not doing corporate anything with taxes. With that, you need to do this by recon. Recon is a 2-month process, as I explained earlier in this video. It's a 2-step process that takes about 2 months. We already just went through it. Everyone that's watching this video qualifies for a stimulus check. And that stimulus check would be the single biggest payment you have ever seen in the history of this channel. The money would be astronomical. Astronomical. It would run from the time in which the bill becomes law to December. The Democrats want it to run. They want the income qualifications to be the same as a third stimulus check. Those 21 of 50 Democrats are the ones pushing this. The word on the street is $1,400 to $2,000 a month. Look at these numbers. This is per person. This is absolutely enormous. You want to push for this and push for nothing else. And this is something that they want you to have. The issue is timing. The issue is timing because ultimately, as the economy rebounds, as jobs are restored, there's big questions across the board. Early in this video, I went over the producer price index, which I'll cover later today. That came in really strong. This is an economic number, and it beat Wall Street's estimates. Meantime, the small business shuttering is absolutely getting worse, a very bad number. So in one day, we start with one bad number and one good number. Meantime, if you're tuning in as well, at the Masters shortly before going on broadcast, Justin Rose was in the lead at 7 under. He had a 4-stroke lead ahead of 5 golfers tied in second. I'll be giving the update throughout the day. He was even at the third during second round action. Again, Justin Rose 4 strokes ahead of the lead of 5 golfers tied at second. What a day it is. Join me more as LA continues throughout the day. Stay informed, stay focused. If you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's our 1-month anniversary at the end of this month. Let's get to 400,000 subscribers. Also, like this video. Thank you for the wonderful dancing pairs in this video. Hopefully I got everyone. Hopefully I didn't miss any of them. Those are some great questions. Bring your questions throughout the day. I'll be answering them live on air. Stay informed, stay focused. Hit that like button. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay LA for more.